The Marketplace, now showing on Ben TV Sky 182 every Saturday at 10 a.m. and Sundays at 3 p.m. Do call us on 0743 890 9022 or 0748 231 2105 and like us on Facebook. The Marketplace. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The Marketplace, here to showcase you to the world, to reach a wider audience. So don't delay. Your customers are waiting.
Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to this special program this afternoon. I have two gentlemen in the studio with me who are going to be sharing with us on the opportunities that are available in Nigeria. My name is Priscilla Nwekbo. I know that recently most of us have concluded that there isn't much going on in Nigeria and that the opportunities that some thought were that once was there was no longer available. But I am being reassured that in the midst of it all, there are plenty of opportunities to be taking advantage of. The first gentleman that I have in the studio with me, the Vice President of the Nigerian British Chambers of Commerce, Mr. Akin Olawore. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. And sitting next to him is the General Manager of Fidelity Bank, Mr. Ken Opara. Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, thank you.
How are you doing?
It's my pleasure. Doing fine.
Good, good,
yeah,
good.
That's good.
Now, both of you are here for the event that took place yesterday, which was called Nigeria Opportunities. It sounds great. What was Nigeria Opportunities about, sir?
Well, thank you very much. We came to discuss about the opportunities available in Nigeria. The Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce is a bilateral chamber of commerce.
Okay.
And between Nigeria and Great Britain. And so what we try to do is to bring opportunities that are back home available to investors here and also take whatever is available from here also back home. In Nigeria, of course, we all know that quite a number of opportunities being an emerging economy.
Right.
And but you see, opportunities will remain potentials until it is tapped into.
Okay.
And how do you tap into? You tap into with capital as well.
Absolutely.
Capital comes in various forms, but you tap into it with capital, and then you can release those potentials, for the greatness of the country and the benefit of those who are also putting the capital into it. So basically, that is what we have tried to explain to people.
Okay.
In the mining industry. The GDP of Nigeria is supposed to be growing, biggest economy in Africa, but we have the oil challenge. The oil that is giving us this challenge, generates about 90-something% of our foreign exchange, but it contributes 7% to the GDP.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the 93% that is left is internal commerce.
Yes.
And what it means is that there's so much to be taken advantage of, because it's even by the international community, because it's an evolving economy,
Okay, so, in a moment, we're going to go into what some of those opportunities are. I'd like you to break that down, because I'm sure that for those who are watching, they would like to hear of those areas that are still available. The news that we have out of Nigeria recently is that, we can't take money out of the country. Naturally, with the fall of the Naira, the value is diminishing if you're bringing in, of your Naira if you had it there. So, Mr. Opara, help us as, one who's coming from the banking sector. Enlighten us a little about what is happening financially with the system at the moment.
Okay, thank you. I think the first point to state is that it's not true that you can't repatriate back your funds out of Nigeria. And that has to be said very clearly.
Okay.
What has happened is that oil, in terms of foreign earnings over the period, has been the major foreign exchange earning for government.
Yes.
And of course, when the oil price dropped, we then began to have drop in the reserve, obviously. But just like Akin said clearly, that, of course, didn't mean that was the total contribution to GDP. Right. It actually contributed little. Yes. But back to the question. Eventually, what then happened was that what was available to distribute from the reserve and then make payment, because of course those payments had to be made in foreign exchange, slowed down. And it was obvious that you then need to plan and also ration what was just, available. So, the ease with which people then decided to move, money out of the country was equally slowed down. But also it's also, driven by the fact that Nigeria had over the period remained an import-dependent country for a period of time. So that also had put pressure on the foreign exchange. But then what has happened is that there's also a good window that is just happening, especially in the export market. Okay. You would agree with me that some of the, importers now are looking backwards, rather than now looking at some of those things they were buying, importing, and, not conserving the foreign exchange. They can now look, inwards to be able to get that. I know about somebody that even pushes up to, 10 containers of, boxer cloths out of the country and generate the foreign exchange. So what you see is that we are, there's a strategic approach towards the management of the foreign exchange to ensure that the relevant and the critical sectors that require this foreign exchange are allocated to that. And then on and on and on the other sectors in that regard. But as we begin to expand the foreign exchange base by this export of activities, one of the major area of opportunity, for instance, is, the area, for those that are involved in cocoa, production, a lot of high-scale production is taking place there and export. Right. And so when these people now begin to export and realize the export proceeds, of course, you'll be able to see that that will expand, the foreign exchange base and, of course, ultimately serve a larger number of people. So it is not true that, people cannot repatriate back their money. Of course, there are other miscellaneous sources. If even people that have, their domiciliary account, the remittance inflows, and of course, we also know quite well that the same way people, transfer money into the country is also, we also allow people to also move it out of the country through, this road.
Now, you made mention there of the domiciliary accounts, and it's an area that troubles a lot of us here in the UK. I know that there has been a reduction in how much you can withdraw in a day. Once upon a time, people could withdraw as much as $1,000. Today, for instance, I think it's is it £200 or so, or is it £150 per day? It's a drastic change. It's quite a drop, and so. Explain a little bit to us how our diaspora accounts are now working in today's Nigerian climate.
Okay, again, I'd like to take it back to the fact that we want to also manage the foreign exchange in such a manner that it will be available. I mean, the moment you have your domiciliary account and is properly funded, initially, even for the deposit side of it, they limited that cash deposit. You do up to $10,000 dollar. I just want to use dollar. But you can also get because that's the base currency. So it's again, I think that some of this information are misplaced. Initially, when you want to do most of this transaction, you could use the official window to do that, and I think that is the area that have this kind of limitation and restriction. But today,
I'm speaking of people who I know
have moved in money to this place.
That would normally just use their debit cards and withdraw money.
Okay. What can you say? There are two types. The Naira card and the domiciliary account card.
Okay, let me make this clear.
Let's have an understanding.
You need to make the distinction.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have the foreign exchange, what we call a card, which is either denominated in dollar or in pound sterling, you have unfettered use to it. If you have it here, if you have your dollar card, card, you know, or you have your pounds sterling card, which of course you can do transaction because it's funded in the currency where it is denominated.
Okay, so
now
if it's strictly that domiciliary account,
that domiciliary.
there's not a
if
problem.
you have your domiciliary account, you have unfettered use to
Okay.
that. Now, if the area where you are now talking about restriction, limit, and all the rest of them has to do with the debit card, which is denominated in Naira, local currency. You know, when you do that, you need to fund that. Because of exchange. So initially, maybe when we are not having some of the exchange rate, difficulty, you could use your Naira debit card and spend as much as, and then you get the conversion. That's the one that is controlled. That's the one because you need to fund that. But if you have your foreign currency debit card, your domiciliary account, which is denominated in either dollar or pounds or whatever, or euro, you can, utilize that. In fact, as much as possible. So
all right, so there's no restriction.
There's no restriction.
That's encouraging to know.
It's important to know.
It's encouraging to know.
Yeah.
Coming back to the event, you've told us it's about being able to harness and bring together the opportunities in Nigeria, bring them here, one here, back to Nigeria. So tell us what transpired yesterday at the one that was held just recently yesterday.
Okay, thank you very much. Yesterday, I think specifically opportunities in the mining industry, was espoused, and so much explanation was made on it.
Okay.
Including even the concessions that government is making. I mean, like we're saying now, look, we want to look at Nigeria beyond oil. Let's develop other areas. Nigeria as a country is blessed. We have virtually every mineral in the ground that is available in the world, but we haven't tapped much of them. The gold is there, diamond is there, everything is there. So the mineral policy is, I think, it's come up. The federal government has also put, I think, about 30 billion naira fund behind it, to support the industry and those who are the sector and those who will want to come. The whole framework has been put together now, and a lot of concessions are going on now. So these are also opportunities. And within all of these concessions and everything that we're talking about, there are value chains.
Of course.
There are services opportunities. There are quite a number of opportunities that are now open. So a lot of these were thrown open yesterday, for people to understand. The opportunities that are available in the infrastructure area, also the concessions are going on from the government because, as we know, it's a world of PPP, and had been now for quite a while, almost 2 decades. And Nigeria is trying to take full advantage of that because if you don't have the cash now, and you can partner with investors, at least to be able to deliver what will help to unleash the cash, that can pay people back. So
we have the mining, the infrastructure.
Yeah, we have the mining, and of course, agric.
The agric.
Of course, the agric.
The agric is an area that, this government has spoken about considerably. So, what are some of the steps there?
In the agric?
Yes.
Oh, in the agric area, as a government, I think they're putting in a lot of policy. They also made funds available to the agric sector. Okay. But much more importantly, the private sector are taking a lot of gigantic steps. You see, like I said, with the restriction in foreign exchange, importers, especially those who are importing materials for their manufacture, are beginning to look inwards. Because you see, it's not the fault of anybody, we should say, and it's not also because somebody wants to be harsh by not making the foreign exchange available. It's just not there. We have the Niger Delta issue, which disrupts the flow.
Yes.
Then you have the world price issue. So even if the price goes up, we need to solve the other issue for the flow to be. So right now, we must not just be in a position that we cannot do anything.
So when we say we're looking...
I also want to add, particularly in the Greek, and it's also to state that there's more than before now a bold effort to grow, particularly the value chain, the Greek value chain. Now, so what government has also done is essentially to create what we call the anchor grower scheme.
Okay.
And the idea is basically that in the next couple of months, we should be self-sufficient in rice, wheat, and some other sesame seed and other production. Now, the farmers, you now needed to empower them. So there's a fund, a 50 billion fund that was just set up, that where they can access, and it's part of the 220 billion stimulation fund that was just put in place. Now the farmers can now come together and access this fund. But then there need to be what we call an off-taker, that who should be able to provide that. So these farmers can now have access to the needed funding to help them grow their product and then be able to produce it. And then obviously now, producing the large scale that they should be able to do that. So the idea is that if they do that, you have an off-taker, you fund the farmers from the primary end, you then be able to have self-sufficiency in terms of food production. Okay. And for me, that's also very critical. Yeah. They also have set up, of course, the export stimulation facility, which is a 500 billion. And so even for those people now, as they produce the food and all the rest of them, support them at the primary level. These people that also want to push it out of the country are also funded. And they can access up to 5 billion in the local currency. And there's also a lot of opportunities gathered there. So, these are all meant to drive, and stimulate growth in those areas and generate the required.
Now, for us as a chamber, that short statement he has made had already thrown up a lot of opportunities.
Okay.
Because now you need off-taker.
Absolutely.
Good. Now, those who are using those raw materials, because you also need value-added services, those who are using them are back home. I mean, like right now, palm oil is in heavy demand. Very heavy. In fact, I just learned of recent that palm oil is part of the things they use for ice cream.
That's
just like that. You see, so it's a heavy demand because the cost of importing it is so high that it's going to be difficult.
We have all the raw materials.
Precisely. So with all of these stimulus funds, there is opportunity to produce them. Now, off-taker, somebody can stand in the gap to buy off them so they can access the fund and be able to even sell back home.
That's right.
Which is true.
So if you're able to add more value to it, you can take it out.
Now, you were saying earlier about looking inward. I was wondering if you could break down what some of those steps are when we're looking inward. You were speaking about the fact that they're having to now look inward. What are some of those practical things?
Thank you very much. For instance, I'm aware of a couple of big multinationals that have set up large plantations.
Okay.
Large plantations, because these plantations may not be able to deliver onto them for another 5 years, but they've started now.
Okay.
And we're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of hectares.
Is this in a specific produce, or it's a variety of produce?
A variety. It's what works for their own industry. We have in the juice industry, we have plantation for the fruits.
Yeah.
In the soap industry and all other, we have plantation for palm oil now. Some of them are now encouraging and enabling the farmers with seedlings. Yes, the seedlings that will be able to deliver the kind of product that they require, the standard that they require. So, I mean, like I said initially when we were starting, there's a disruption that is positive for us.
Positive one.
Yeah.
I mean, let me come to you, Mr. Opara. You've made mention about 550 billion, 220 billion, 50 billion. I know that the bank will play a role in ensuring that, these monies are dispersed. I'm a farmer and I need access to some of this money. What do I require? What's the collateral that is? What are the standards? What's the criteria? And what do I need to bring along with me?
Okay, that's a very good question. And of course, when you take the farmers, for instance, you discover that maybe in terms of tangible collateral might be, some of the constraint. But the key point for us here is the fact that this fund is guaranteed 50% by central bank.
Okay.
And so, but beyond that, which is also an area that even us as a bank, Fidelity Bank, partnered with Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce in the area of building capacity. And so we tried as much as possible to capacitate them, build capacity, try to help them, do a hand-holding to get them to understand how to run a profitable business and keep proper record. Now, that hasn't been done. The next thing is that they form themselves into a group of farmers, what you call a cooperative. The moment they have that, and they have a guaranteed off-taker, and it's happening, a lot of big-time, investors and, people that are involved in the agri value chain have also agreed to be off-taker. But one of the most important things you need to know is that even for these big exporters, big time industrialists, the major challenge is that over the time they have been funding these small farmers to help them grow. But with this now, what we have done is to provide them liquidity, so that they don't need to stretch to, their resources to be able to get that. So they already now have a process. So what you do is you form yourself into a small cooperative, a group of people, because we want to approach it from a cluster perspective, so that they can also enhance their and reduce the cost of getting to fair. So once that is done, and we understand the product, a very small plan about how they get to get that, and the request, we'll process it and send it to CBN for approval, and it's within a month. I can tell you, so they'll be able to assess that, and they can now assess that depending on the volume of what they will be needing to be able to get that.
The other thing, as you said there, they need to being able to do this and keeping proper record has been a problem in times past. Is there then any training opportunities to help them so that they're able to keep proper records and to also, better business people, as it were?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's at the heart of what we do. Fidelity Bank, and like I said, also the collaboration with Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, because we think that capacity building is critical, but not just about the collateral or every other thing. Often you see that most of these small businesses, the small agri scheme, talk about the fact that they lack access to funding. But we built a lot of money and spending on trying to build their capacity. So we gather them together, be able to let them know what are the processes of having to even keep that, what do they need to do, even if they borrow, these are the things, what kind of business do they want, even if they are farm, in a particular farm location, what are the risks, if they sell, they need to also track it to the banks for people to be able to know the volume of what they're doing. And above all, we've also equipped them with, a scheme which helps them out with their mobile phone. Yes, they can assess the volume of what they are doing, the sales record. We just call that. So it's financial record on the go. So it's just an application which we've worked with Sage. And then the idea is basically that if they make sales, they can also look at their inventories and be able to, with minimal level of supervision, be able to get that. And that is done on a cluster basis. So that way you can attest that this is the volume of what is doing, this is the finished stock, and then of course be able to get. So you can now be able to assess the capacity of this borrower, be able to get. So most of the time, the collateral for this kind of people is not really issue, just that they need to put this relevant structure, and we tie it to an off-taker, and that's essentially what we do.
And how we support them in addition to that is that we have an SME clinic. So that in the clinic now we have all of the consultants that will be required to help them with all these processes, the accountant, valuers, and you have them, so they are able to help them not at full fees. You understand? So at least they're able to keep those books, whatever it is that they have learned, they're able to keep it. So there are now records which can make them bankable. Because the chamber is open to a wide spectrum of membership, the multinationals as well as the SMEs. So we make sure we have the SME clinic. They receive the training, and you then have the consultants to help them and support them with putting their book, because they kind of individually they may not be able to afford those consultants exactly. So, but we put a clinic together so they have opportunity to speak with them and have
it all sounds really good. It sounds fantastic. Well, you've been listening to my guest. I'm speaking to Mr. Akin Olawore, and he's representing the Nigerian British Chambers of Commerce. And I'm also speaking this afternoon to Mr. Ken Opara, and he is representing Fidelity Bank. He's actually the general manager. And we've been having a conversation about the opportunities that are available in Nigeria and how you can take advantage. We're coming to that part in a moment. We're going to go on a short break for now. But when we come back, we're going to discuss more about, what we here in the diaspora can do, what opportunities are available to us, and how we can get involved. So don't go away. See you in a bit.
At bentelevisionuk@gmail.com. We are here to serve you.
On Ben TV, I've actually been on the channel, yeah.
Ben TV!
It's October, the global month of breast cancer awareness. So make a date for the Go Pink Ball 2016, the biggest breast cancer awareness fundraiser Nigeria has ever seen, with 7 first ladies, 6 NGOs, 5 states, 4 areas of focus, 3 sponsorship categories, and 2 levels of participation for just one cause at the 2016 Go Pink Ball. Venue, Intercontinental Hotel, Lagos. Date, 29th of October 2016. Time, 7 p.m. Tickets, 50,000 naira per seat and 1 million naira and above for a corporate table. For more info, please call IMU on 0803-7255-260 or email info@optimalcancercare.org. You could also visit our website, www.optimalcancercare.org.
Let's go pink.
Hi, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Our number is 0208-808-0693. I still have my guests in the studio with me, and they are still, during the break there, they were still telling me about the wonderful opportunities that are available in Nigeria. Gentlemen, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
Now, of course, those of us in the diaspora here, our main concern is how do we do business? One of the things that we have seen a lot of recently, we have a lot of returnees that are coming back, you know, because of the way things are. We need encouragement. Tell us, you know, what are some of the things that you have on offer that we can, you know, buy into, take advantage of, that we can still do?
Well, thank you very much. Actually, my experience is to the contrary, really.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of returnees back home.
Oh, lovely. So it's
my daughter came back.
That's nice.
You see, and what I also find is that as a returnees come, they see gaps in the services. They see gap. For instance, take for instance, if you want to do a party at home now, you don't need drum and ice blocks again. You have people within the hospitality industry. It's been so enlarged now. You have event managers, you have the caterers, you have those who tend bars. You know, they actually bring the bar, they bring the drinks. And the presentation now is such that you ask yourself, where has this been all the while? And most of these things are being done by the returnees. The diasporas are coming back, bringing the standards they are used to.
Yes.
And why are they finding market? They're finding market because they also find people who are used to that standard, who are mostly to diasporans, and everybody is buying into it.
Oh, that's good.
You see, so a lot of opportunities are back home.
Yeah, and if you pick, for instance, the education sector, I think the statistics have it that Nigeria spends more than $2 billion, dollar annually on payment of school fees and maintenance of their wards over there. I mean, what Akin is saying is that there's now a paradigm shift because of the difficulties involved in having to pay for these fees, maintain them, the huge surge, the exchange rate disparity, even the problem of having to get that. So people are looking inwards. They are also now trying to set up, you know, the same kind of standard of education that is their schools, you know, even in terms of be able to get that, so that you'll be able to get that. And these are the area the diaspora people can also be able to help. Like he said, we already have the kind of standard these people want. And so you begin to see, I have, you know, one of the school proprietors, and he said during the last vacation that the kind of, you know, sales in terms of, you know, business that she was able to make in was 5 times higher than what he used before. Now, because people didn't want to now start going on holidays, so they now needed a relaxation place. They also needed where their wards can go on a summer program, and they found that place a very convenient place, and people were trooping to that place. That provided a lot of opportunity for, you know, people in that area, and that, I think that that's an area that is happening. The same thing in the medical industry, and also be able to get that. The medical tourism, a lot of people decide where you have doctors and all those pharmacists, they need to come back here and be able to set back the kind of facilities.
The standards.
Yeah, people don't need to fly at just the shortest possible distance. Malaria, they just say, oh, look, we want to take them there. You put it there, people will be prepared to pay that. Of course, you know that, you know, Nigeria like very excellent services and the rest of them. So these are, you know, opportunity areas. If you also look at what is happening, you know, I want to mention also, even in the export and agri area, you see the value chain, you know, the logistic services, which has also been a major area of concern. This, you can also be able to get that. I mentioned yesterday during the period that an area that is of importance is in the area of storage facilities. Yes. You don't want to have the farmers produce a product, you get to filter the way and be able to. So you want to also have people having to set up storage facilities where that can now be run on a, you know, shared platform and or services, and people can pay, be able to get that, and that of course will provide the needed, you know, funds and support for people in that area, and these are increasingly becoming.
You know, going back to just briefly to what you've just said there, one of the problems that Nigerian farmers face is a problem of transportation. You have more perishable goods because they're not able to be transported from, the source, as it were, to where it needs to be processed or to move on. What is there anything that is happening in that area to ease the problem?
Yeah. Let me say that you just threw up another opportunity now, which I was going to talk about. You see,
we're just throwing up opportunities today.
Exactly. Because when you look at it, why should we expect the farmer to transport it? Somebody else can come in there who knows what is required in the city where it's going, who knows what will make you buy. Perception. We're talking about the 7 P's in marketing.
Yeah.
The packaging. Don't let the farmer go through the problem of packaging. He is not best positioned for that. Somebody else is. I mean, I just broke down just an event now.
Yes.
And told you so many vendors that are in it. One event that ordinarily you would have handled out on your own has now created value chains. The same thing with the agric.
Okay.
The farmer does what is best suited to do. And I come in. You provide the storage. I plan how it's going to get to that storage, how I'm going to preserve it. Because in between, when you look at the total wastage, put a cost to it. Put a cost to how much you are buying it in the city. You find that there's inefficiency. If all of us are coming into the chain, we'll still sell it cheaper in the city because then money will keep turning around.
Speaking of which, you've mentioned so much that the Chambers is doing. How does the Chambers work in Nigeria? Is it replicated in every city, in every state, or does it have representatives in every state? How does it work?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, we have a branch here, the UK network.
Yeah.
Now in Nigeria, what we have is we're in Abuja and Lagos, but we now have relationship with all the city chambers.
All right, okay.
Yeah, all the city chambers, we have relationship with them. So when we're coming, we come with the city chambers.
I see.
When we have programs to do, we do with the city chambers. We're planning inward mission now. Let people come in and come and see the opportunities themselves, and be able to talk through it. What we have only tried to do here now is to pick 1 or 2 and break down chains for people to see their opportunities. Otherwise, you look at it as one block and it's like, okay, so where do I come in? But having broken down the block, you can see the various areas. So we work with the city chambers.
Okay.
So anytime you come in with the NBCC, you are coming into the entire Nigerian space.
I see. That's good. It's good to know. It's encouraging. Now, let me come back to the bank because I'm keen to understand. Obviously, I'm always for my people here in the diaspora. I'm keen to understand. I said it over the break that diaspora products was something that most Nigerian banks have been offering over a period of time now, and I know that it's slowed down a little, with the new administration. Sir, enlighten us. Are we still pushing for these diaspora products, and can we in the diaspora continue to take advantage of them?
Okay, that's a very good question, and I just want to say clearly that the opportunities are quite huge. You also need to recognize that even if you look at the total diaspora remittance inflow to Nigeria is over 20 billion. But then it begins to tell you clearly that, of course, it's a major market that you can't ignore.
Yeah.
I think the first point to start is that at some point there were money transfer agents outside the country. The arrangement was not properly put together. So you begin to see different chains, and of course they wanted also to ensure that there's no money laundering related issues and other related. So they then began to streamline that and said, okay, the various money transfer agents need to be properly registered. They need to also understand that these guys also be, the person that is doing it. I think at that point when that happened, it created a distortion. People had to be calling, oh, look, I needed to move money out, to Nigeria to make settlement, and it's not happening. You just had the 3 major ones. But that has been streamlined. You registered a lot of all these other money transfer agents, and I think that just recently they also expanded that, which means you can now be able to go to each place to, make remittance as is necessary. The other important thing to state is that I still want to state that if you have a domiciliary account which of course you have the foreign currency denominated there. You have unfettered use to that. And if there's need for you to also give instruction, maybe a standing order instruction or whatever, I mean, that of course is also going to be, complied with.
Does Fidelity Bank offer me?
Yeah.
Can I open a domiciliary account whilst I'm here in London?
Oh, sure. If you go to our, if you go to our website, you will see that for diaspora. Of course, we have a very strong diaspora franchise.
Okay.
And the idea is that you don't even need to come to Nigeria.
Excellent. So what is this diaspora franchise? So you get to that place, once you open that place, you go to that website, you can download the form, do it online and send it. Of course, the moment you get that, we have, it will also be able to guide you through, depending on which of the locations. You will also see our various locations. Once that is open, you'll be able to get a relationship officer getting to talk to you and then follow through. And of course, you can, even transfer whatever you want to do, because an account can now be created for you. Yeah.
And of course, many, the usual KYC, of course, will just, at least that their location can be, ascertained and the rest of them. So, but, we have that, and we have a lot of offerings, even in the area of mortgage.
Oh, good. I was going to say, a lot of offerings, but I understand we have a caller. Let's hold that thought for a moment on the offerings that are available. Let's inquire from our caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's your name, sir, and where are you calling from?
My name is Mr. Wale. I'm calling from London.
Okay, what is your question this afternoon, please?
Okay, my question to Mr. Ken is that what assistance, what services does the bank have in place to help those in diaspora who wants to relocate to Nigeria in terms of their business? Is there like a loan place that could help such a person if they want to come to Nigeria to establish a business and see how they can actually help to grow the Nigeria economy? So that's my main question. What has the bank got in place to help diasporans that wants to come to relocate and establish a business in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You heard.
Yeah, I've heard him. Okay, thank you. I think that's a very important question, and I like that, to relocate to Nigeria. Frankly speaking, we have a lot of offerings that will definitely help you to move to Nigeria seamlessly. The first one is that in terms of home ownership, which of course we'll be able to get that. Let me just, because it's important that you have a home.
Yes.
So we have a mortgage scheme which we call diaspora mortgage, just global age. And which, of course, you can access up to 100 million to be able to get here.
100 million what?
What, 100 million naira? We're talking of Nigeria. But it's up to, it's up to 350,000
pounds.
Dollar. But back to the area which you talked about relocating and relocating for business. That's at the heart of what we do. We will help you to provide you with advisory services. We have a Fidelity SME Academy. And basically is to give you the sectors and where you want to be, why you want to be able to get that. Which sectors are lucrative and what are you doing over there, and then how you can start, which environment, which regulatory agency can help you to actualize that, and you will have a senior business advisor, who will be able to also help you to go through. We have alliance partners that are also involved in both the record keeping, accountant, even, lawyers and all the rest of them. They will help you to, register your business, particularly for the lawyers, set up, even for those in the property segment that will help you, to set up your office. But most importantly is that we take you through what we call a hand-holding process. Because coming to, Nigeria, immediately you just come in, you wouldn't want to start immediately deploying the fund that you have.
No.
You need to look at the landscape. So we provide that and begin to tell you, look, you need to even start small. and then be able to get that. Even if you are a medical doctor, for instance, these are, the opportunities that are also happening there. We have a special scheme for doctors, which we call a Fidelity Medical, support scheme.
Okay.
So that also helps you to procure equipment, also then buy drugs as the need might be. But clearly, I think that the first point is to have an, interaction with us. We begin to have a discussion with you. We begin to take you through the journey. We begin to give you
can that
the environment.
be done? You made mention about the fact that you have some kind of an outfit here. Can that be done here before one comes to Nigeria via the outfit that you have?
Yeah, we have. If you go, look at our website, you also see where we have ManageSME, www.managesme.com. If you get to that place, you will see, our advisory platform, the steps that you need to take. You don't even need to come to Nigeria before you start the process. And you will have an engagement session, that will take you. So there's a digital platform
that's really good. Time just goes just like that. So we're almost coming to the end of the program. But let me get from you, sir, very quickly. Just mention for me some of the products that you have. I know that we can open accounts. You've made mention of the mortgage facility available. You've made mention of the funding for doctors available. What else does Fidelity Bank offer that if I am here in the diaspora, I could take advantage of and want to move to Nigeria or want to do something in Nigeria?
Yeah, the most important thing I like to say, apart from all the products that I've mentioned, is the advisory suite.
Okay, so you have this support
because
system.
It helps you to immediately understand the investment climate. It helps you to understand what you need, the A to Z of what you need to do to settle down. It also helps you to understand the regulatory framework and where to go to. Because even if you want to have fun that will be able to get that, you need to know where would this be deployed, which area will be, and even if I need to set up a company, which are the collaborations that I need to do. And I think that that's very, very important. This advisory suite is critical. It's drawn from the fact that we recognize that capacity is key and information. And you can, take the advantage of this by logging to our platform, and then you'll be able to get those information. You have a, how to start toolkit, and it enables you to get all the relevant information that you need.
So it's all online?
Yeah, you can log on to our website. You will see, the Fidelity Managed SME. You will see the toolkit. But of course, you cannot see everything. We just be able to get that. So when you now begin to look at specifics, you will also then have contact points. Okay. Of course, we also have our TrueServe, which is the contact center, where if there are other issues that you need to, but you have dedicated business advisors.
Okay. Very quickly, what is the website for Fidelity Bank? How do we?
Yeah, www.fidelitybankng.org. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. The British Chambers of Commerce. For you guys, it's fantastic, fantastic. Again, just as I asked there, tell us here in the diaspora, what are those key areas that we should consider taking opportunities of, and the role that you will play to help us achieve?
Thank you very much. I think my first advice, really, because you cannot buy a pig in a poke. It's also very good. That's why we're organizing the inward mission. So everybody looks at the various areas, sectors where you like to play. And then you get people ready for you, and then you get investment advice and discussion. And just take about a week or less, to have an understanding of what is on ground.
Right.
Where can I fit in?
Yeah.
And then we'll also have the service providers, have the banks and all that besides. So you have people to talk to within that same period, within the same enclosure. Have everybody from all over. The International Trade Fair, of which we have a stand, is taking place next year. That's too close, but we're planning the inward mission for next year.
Right.
So that people can book in, come in, have a feel of the country, have a feel of all that we are saying, and then, depending on what you want to do, we then know where we can give you support and guidance. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, what would your final word be, gentlemen, for us out here?
I think it's to say clearly that Nigeria presents a lot of opportunities in the midst of what you regard as recession. People are taking
no, we don't regard it. We were told.
Yeah. So there are a lot of opportunities, particularly for people at the small and medium end, and people in diaspora. They can come back and they can take, even while they are here, they can even act as an aggregator for the exports that are taking place. Okay. They know all the various things. Recently, I mean, one of the major products that Nigeria export, which is sesame seed, was rated as the best. And that tells you clearly
the
that
best quality sesame seed. Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean, the oil content is quite high because you need oil, vegetable oil, margarine, and all those spices and all the rest of them. And of course, they also recognize that even the sand content is very minimal. I mean, it tells you clearly that that's the way to go. So there are huge opportunities. Look at it and then be able to see where you can key in. And of course,
you guys are there to
we at Fidelity are very eager to support you, provide the advisory services, and then meet you at the point where you need it.
I like the sound of that.
Right. Well, for me, what I will also say is that there's abundance of opportunities, but I will also want brothers and sisters in diaspora not to despair. You see, I was born and bred in Nigeria. I did all of my education in Nigeria. I've been there all those while. And we should, you see, instead of complaining, we should look at where can we key in. In every situation of chaos or things not going right, there are opportunities for business.
There are, yeah.
So instead of complaining about anything not working, we should look in. And now this is the best time. Like we kept talking about disruptor, this is the best time. The Naira is at its lowest ebb. So whatever little sterling you are bringing in can do so much.
Apparently. Well, what can I say? It's been great. Time doesn't permit us to continue, but Mr. Olawore, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Opara, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you both. Well, you've heard, the opportunities are out there. It is up to you to take advantage. And my two guests are more than available, and of course with the companies, the various outfits that they represent, to support and help you to attain. Thank you for tuning in. Take care until next time. Goodbye.